I wanted to pop in for a second and I wanted to share some energy from the other side. Um, when I was in surgery yesterday, I had the most amazing experience, right? Whenever our soul is freed from the body, it becomes unto itself, and it becomes aware of everything. And yesterday, during my surgery, I had that moment and the clarity that came from that moment, and the beauty that is this experience. So keep in mind that there's 3 layers in this world that you live in that are very important. There's a lot of layers, but there's 3 that are specific to your experience. And I've learned those 3 layers through trial and error and kind of bumping around in the dark, so to speak. But the first of those layers is that you have a soul. You have an infinite self. And that infinite self is where you find your courage and where you find your infinite power and your wisdom. And your infinite self is where you find your discernment. We've dialed in and we've become codependent on our senses to such a degree that we've lost the connection to the spirit world, and how beautiful the soul has negotiated this agreement, and how amazing we really have it here. And I felt for a long time that so many of us, including myself, we isolated our experience from the physical aspect, and we pushed the subconscious into the corner, often ignoring it, allowing it to repeat in its own misery and stimulate us through confusing conversations inside of our own mind. And the soul is just sitting there so beautifully and so open and allowing. It's not trying to force anything. But think about for a second that your free will doesn't reside in the physical body. You see, that's the first level of an illusion. What you're creating here is an echo of what your soul is doing in the infinite realm. Your soul is where you have free will. And your soul is forging ahead all the time. And the subconscious is trying to tag along, often neglected, feeling rejected, creating arrangements with old ideas to protect your experience. And then your physical realm, your physical self here, gets so tied up in what you're experiencing that it forgets that you've created it. And it gets indoctrinated with its own isolation. It gets indoctrinated with its own appetite for sensory perception. You get like hooked on taste and touch and sight and all these elements which are so important to this experience, but they don't define you. They are from you. And to really expand this box that we're in, this physical box, there's a trinity. There's a beauty. When they say mind, body, and soul, think of the body in this experience. The mind is your mental state. The soul speaks for itself. But the body is governed by the unseen forces. Sometimes we call them shadow forces, but it really isn't a shadow at all. It is just dancing and trying to keep pace with the music. and it feels left behind a lot of times. Your body feels neglected. Your body often screams out in ways. Mine's been screaming lately, screamed yesterday, and it reminded me of the precious thing that is life and what it's like to be here and what it's like to not be here. So tap into your elemental self, your eternal self, and don't contain yourself to formulating an existence that is only physical. When you create your dream board, there's two dreams that you're creating. You're creating a dream that's conscious to this mind, but your body's creating a dream, which can sometimes seem like a nightmare because it feels neglected. And the only way that you will find this out is generally when it's too late, or when somebody has to tell you that, hey, what's going on? And then you start to understand life from a different perspective. So your soul is sensitive, and it's always here, and it's always nourishing you. It's providing you with the highest level of acceptance, with the highest level of interaction. Your soul has this plan that goes beyond your dream board, right? And when we're not aligned, when we are not speaking from our heart, and we're speaking from a space that only comes from the third eye and the crown chakra, I feel that we're spinning our wheels, like kicking up sand, right? Because your body and your ego and your subconscious have to be seen. They have to understand you. They have to feel that nurturing connection to your higher self, your spiritual self, that part of you that is infinite. If your body goes through this existence, if your subconscious goes through this existence, singling itself out, afraid of death, afraid of failure, afraid of all these other things, it projects these no matter what your willpower says. Your subconscious is so much faster. It's what keeps you breathing. It's what keeps your heart beating. It's what keeps your cells continually turning over. It is 10 steps ahead of your conscious awareness. So when you believe yourself to be conscious, when you are trying to sit in a state of meditation, it's not about controlling the physical body. It's not about trying to decide whether I allow the sound of a barking dog to dictate my meditation. It's seeking a sustenance and a connection with Source God. It's about tapping into the part of you that is your infinite self and meeting in the middle and marrying those things. Marrying that Trinity with inside of you so that you can give your unseen side, which you may call your shadow, the truth. It's not alone. There's no reason to be afraid. It was never too much to handle. It doesn't need to resuscitate old wounds to protect this future. It doesn't need to find turmoil in what the physical day is in order to feel protected from love. Show it what love actually looks like. Love is not a banking account. Love is not even this body. Love is not a beautiful meal. All those things are great, but love in itself is infinite energetics and connection to God. It doesn't matter what you call God or what you call Source, because it sees you in all forms. Your physical, people are so trapped in their sexuality and their gender and their color that they're focusing on the figment. They're focusing on the illusion. They're not allowing the infinite to take hold of their heart. So they're worried. They're afraid. They don't see forever. They only see what it looks like to fail, to not find their dream, to feel insecure. You see, when you're in connection to the infinite, when you and your Trinity is merged, you don't need reparations. You don't need illusions. You have everything, and you express everything so strongly and purely. You feel it from your heart space. You feel it with beauty. So today, go out there and tap into God's source. Let God know that you're alive. Give your higher self and source credit. Stop separating yourself. Stop allowing your subconscious to think it's alone, to repeat a pattern. Become your infinite potential. You're bigger, you're better. You go beyond this breath. You can follow your breath to find yourself, but then lose it to know yourself. Everybody have a beautiful day. Peace, light, and love. As always, it's not about me. It's about the message. It was never about the man. It's about God. Peace, light, and love.